For a minute, I got uptight, but she told me to take it easy. I had no reason to worry. She'd marry me, and if it was important, because of my parents, it could even be in a hall. But that wasn't the point. The point was somewhere else altogether. 3 years ago, in Mombasa, when she and Leahy went there after the army. The two of them went by themselves because the guy she had been seeing had just re-enlisted. In Mombasa, they lived in the same place the whole time. Some kind of guest house where a whole bunch of people hung out, mostly from Europe. Leahy refused to consider going anywhere else because she had just fallen in love with some German guy who'd lived in one of the cabins. She didn't mind staying either. She was pretty much enjoying the quiet. And even though the guest house was exploding with drugs and hormones, no one hassled her. They could probably just tell she wanted to be alone. No one, except for some Dutch guy who got there maybe a day after them and didn't leave until after she went back home. And he didn't actually hassle her either. He just looked at her a lot. That didn't bother her. He seemed like an alright guy. A little sad, but one of those sad guys who don't complain. They were in Mombasa for 3 months, and she never heard him say a word, except for once, a week before they left, and even then there was something so gentle about the way he talked to her, something so weightless, that it was as if he hadn't said anything at all. She explained to him that the timing was bad, told him about her boyfriend, who was in some technical something in the Air Force, about how they'd known each other since high school, and he just smiled and nodded and moved back to his regular spot on the steps of the hut. He didn't speak to her anymore. All he did was keep looking. Except that actually, now that she thought about it, he did speak to her one more time, on the day she flew back, and he said the strangest thing. Something about how, between every 2 people in the world, there's a kiss. What he was actually trying to tell her was that he'd been looking at her for the past 3 months and thinking about their kiss. How it would taste, how long it would last, how it would feel. And now she was leaving, and she had a boyfriend and everything, and he understood. But just that kiss, he wanted to know if she would agree. It was actually very funny, the way he spoke, kind of confused. Maybe because he didn't know English well, or maybe he just wasn't much of a talker. But she said okay, and they kissed. And after that, he really didn't try anything, and she came back to Israel with Leahy. Her boyfriend was at the airport in his uniform to pick her up in his army car. They moved in together, and to spice up their sex life a little, they added some new things. They tied each other to the bed, they dripped some wax, he even once tried to do it anally, which hurt like hell. But in the end they split up. And when she started school, she met me. And now, we're going to get married. And she has no problem with that. She said I should pick up the hall and the date and whatever I want, because it really doesn't matter to her. That isn't the point at all, and neither is the Dutch guy. I have nothing to be jealous of. He's probably dead already from an overdose, or else he's lying drunk on some sidewalk in Amsterdam. Or he went and got a master's degree in something, which sounds even worse. In any case, it's not about him at all. It's about that time in Mombasa. For 3 months, a person sits and looks at you, imagining a kiss.